I'm Gavin from Spitfire and this is episode 5. In this episode we've got the mobile picking line. Work continues on that. That's nearing completion and nearly painted. I go to Hillhead and meet some other YouTubers plus some other stuff that we've got going on in the workshop. So let's go and have a go at it then. I need your help. I've got a bit of a conundrum. Hopefully one of the viewers of this video can give us a bit of help with this one. So we've got a problem here at Spitfire and we are running out of space. Now we've got 9,500 square feet of workshop space. We're taking on another unit which will probably come up in the next few episodes, but we've got an area down the size of our workshop, our main workshop, that we can cover over and create more assembly space, because that's what we're short of. We're short of space in the workshop for assembly. All of our current workshop space is mainly used for fabrication and we end up having to assemble machines in the fabrication space, and we want to change that, we want to stop it. So we've got an area down the side of the workshop that we want to use for assembly space. So our main workshop is in there, and down the side here we've got an area that we currently use for storage, but we can use the backyard for more storage. So what we want to do is put a roof that comes across there and overhangs this roof here in the building next door. And I spoke to the landlord about this and he's happy for us to suggest some different things. So what we want is, now we could go down the permanent route, but we only rent this, so we want a temporary solution. Now we've had a word with a local scaffolding company about putting some scaffolding up and sheeting it, and that came back to be quite expensive for what we wanted. So we're looking for alternatives. Different ideas that have been floated around is like a big industrial tent, but the problem is when it rains the water would come down the roof and come down here, which means that there's no guttering, and then the rainwater would just end up coming inside the building underneath the wall. So we need something that's going to come from there and carry the water across to this side here, and then it can go in that guttering along there. So looking for suggestions on a temporary solution, not a permanent one, a temporary solution that can do that. If anybody knows of anything out there that thinks that that would fit the bill, let us know, because at the minute this is just being used for storage of stock machines, stock mini screens, broken pallets, bits and bobs left over from jobs, which we probably do need to get a skip in and have a sort out, get rid of some of that. But if we could get a roof on this, this would sort us out for a bit longer, because we are mega busy at the minute and we do need a solution to this problem. So leave your ideas, suggestions in the comments and let us know what you think. So it's Tuesday morning, I'm in the yard. Didn't do any filming yesterday because I was busy in the office. But we've had a big trailer come in the workshop, and we've had these trailers in. The company that owns these trailers, the plant hire company and that, I think they've got about 6 of these out of the local depot, and they've got others in their main depot, and they all come into us for repair because there's probably a little bit of an inbuilt flaw into these, which I'll show you. They're a Faymanville low loader, and the rear jack legs at the back, we end up modifying them because they end up getting ripped off. Let me just explain what's going on. I'll just turn the camera around. So in the back of the trailer, you've got 2 jack legs. You've got one this side, and you've got one in here. And what it does, when you've got a big machine going up there here, there's 2 jack legs that go down, and it just basically stabilises the trailer, so that all the weight, when it goes up over the ramps, is not sat on the back axles. So they put the jack legs down on the bigger machines, they track them up, and it's nice and stable. But what we've found with these the original bracket is welded to this, and it comes down here and comes across, and then comes back to here. And what we've done to all of these trailers now, we've put this plate in and bought it off of the underside of this outrigger here. So we put these plates in, and what it does, it supports the leg, because at the minute all you've got on the original is it's all welded to the back here, and with this ram, with the pressure going down, this ends up twisting up. This front edge here lifts up, and then the legs don't sit vertical, they sit at a funny angle. So we end up cutting these plates off and welding them back on in position and put these two support plates in. Now there's not a huge amount more you can do on these, because this outrigger here down the side slides in and out for the wider machines. So you can't actually attach anything to this, because this moves in and out. This slides in here, across here. So the only thing that we can do is come underneath this outrigger. Now, we've modified all of these, but this one, the driver unfortunately forgot to lift his legs when he'd been loading the machine. So on this one, that plate there got bent out. So what we've done is we've cut that plate out and profiled on the CNC plasma another plate and welded it underneath here. And it's also welded on the outsides as well. Let me just show you around here. So that's it from the side, and you can see that plate is the one that we've replaced. That plate there, and then it's welded inside and out, so all the weight is now lifting up on the two extra plates that we've put in. So this plate here is what we've put in previously, and that is still straight, but that plate in there, the one that was in there, was bent, so that's the one that's been cut out and we've welded a new one in. But originally, when this trailer was new, this bracket here, you've got that plate there, and it was literally like that. So you can imagine, with all that weight pushing up there like that, that plate eventually bends like that. So we cut them off, straighten them up, and put these plates in, and that seems to have sorted the problem out. And then just to finish it off, we're putting this plate inside at the front, so that will go in that part there inside. And Connor is the one that's just about to weld it in. Remember, in the last episode, I showed you the mobile picking line. Well, probably in the previous episode actually. The last episode, we didn't do a huge amount on it, but work has progressed on that in the workshop now. So let's go and have a look at it. It's a bit different than you last saw it. So, if you remember in the last episode, or the episode before that, I showed you the mobile picking line. We're still working on it, but for the last couple of weeks, not a lot's been done to it, because we've been on other projects and trying to clear up some other projects so we can get on with this. So let me just show you where we are with this now. It's a bit different to the last time that I showed you. It's now up on its legs, and we're doing the cabin. So let's have a look. So this is where we are with this at the minute. It's up on its legs. This is its working position. So we've put it up on its legs because we've put the steps on. So we're just doing the steps on the other end. So we've got steps both sides to get access up to the picking cabin. There's going to be a door here and a door the other side to get up into the picking cabin. These steps, when it gets lowered, obviously this is in its working position at the minute, when it gets lowered into its transport position, these legs here will come down, and this inner leg here goes up inside the outer leg, and there's going to be a hydraulic ram on the bottom here and a hydraulic ram that comes up the outside of the leg, and we'll get mounted at the top here. It's 4 legs, one on each corner, and each one will have a hydraulic ram, and these steps hinge on a pivot just here, and these steps will lift up to about there. There's a hydraulic ram going to be mounted here and come back to here. So there'll be a hydraulic ram to lift those steps up, and they'll be lifted up before the actual machine gets lowered. So it's up in its working position at the minute so we can do the steps, and then we'll lower it down to finish off. So the picking cabin itself, they're just fabricating that at the minute. Putting the last few bits of the roof on there. We've got a window here and a window here. So there's 4 windows in it, 2 each side. And what we're going to do with this now, this is a box section frame. This is being made up, and we're going to get all this welded up. And then on the outside, we're going to fix some tin work, some sheet metal on the outside of this. And then at that point, once it's all finished and it's ready for paint, that will then all be painted. And take it out of here, take it into the paint booth and get it all painted. And then once it's painted, it'll come back out the paint booth, and we're going to insulate inside here, inside all the box section. And on the inside of the picking cabin will then be zinc sheets put on the inside. So it's weatherproof and it won't go rusty, and it will create a shiny finish to reflect the light, so it's nice and light in there. Now we think this machine is going to be electric driven because we've got a customer who's interested in this. We're just trying to get them over the line with this. This was originally intended to be our higher screen stroke demo machine, not screen, picking line, higher picking line, or for sale, but we have got a customer interested in this, and I think they want an electric version. So we're just getting to the stage now where we need to decide whether this is going to be diesel or electric. The original plan for this machine was to make it diesel and hydraulic powered, so it can go out on hire. But I think this customer wants it electric. So we're getting to the point where we've got to decide which way we go with it, because if it's going to go diesel, the diesel engine is going to sit in this area here. It's going to create a box for the diesel engine to sit in. And the hydraulic tank and the engine will sit in this area here. And if it goes down that route, the diesel engine will power the hydraulics will then power the main belt at the top here, the overband, and obviously also do our legs and steps through hydraulics. But if we don't go that route, it will be electric, and the electrics will power the picking line, the overband, and the lights inside. And what we will probably do, the original plan was to have a 3-phase hydraulic power pack sitting in this area here to power all the legs and the steps. But we think what we're actually going to do now, because the legs and the steps only get used occasionally, and if we need to adjust the steps or the legs when it's actually being loaded and unloaded on a trailer, we might actually put a petrol engine hydraulic power pack in this space here, so it can literally be, the legs can literally be lifted up and down, the steps can be lifted up and down pretty much anywhere. We don't need an electric power supply. So if it goes electric, we're going to go with a petrol engine power pack here to do the hydraulics. If it goes diesel, then obviously we'll use the engine that's this end. But you can see it's starting to take shape now. As I've said in previous episodes, material will get loaded this end. And basically it's a big conveyor belt. So I'm sure that only happens when I walk in here with a camera. And also hitting stuff with a hammer. Material get loaded this end, travel up the belt, the guys inside the picking cabin will pick off the different material and come through these picking holes underneath. There's one there, and then there's another 2 over here. There's going to be an overband magnet up there, which is basically a really big magnet that's inside a conveyor belt. So any metal that comes along that belt there will get lifted by the magnet and stick to the magnet or the belt under the magnet, and as the belt moves, it moves it away from the magnet and the material will drop off, and there'll be a big chute here, and it'll be made to fit both sides, so you can have it going either way depending on the setup on site. So either going the other side or this side, the metal will drop off into a bin down here, and anything that's not been picked off, not been collected by the magnet, will come off the end of the belt. Now these machines are used in a lot of recycling centres throughout the country. This is a standard way of manually sorting things, but there is a bit of a higher market for these. There are sites out there that sometimes accumulate a certain amount of waste, and then occasionally they will hire one of these in just to sort out what they've got. There's also a higher market for festivals. You think the festivals that go on over the summer, everybody chucks all their drinks, bottles and rubbish in a bin. It's paper, plastic, all that sort of thing. And what they do, I know Glastonbury, they certainly have picking lines to sort through their rubbish, so everything on site can then be recycled on site. But as you can imagine, they don't need one of these all year round. So they would hire one of these in to just sort through the rubbish that's created in that 1 week period, and they don't need it again. So there is a higher market for these, and we are looking to do some of these machines to go out on hire, and if this customer doesn't buy this one will be available for hire. So I'm in the van this morning, I'm on my way out. I don't normally get involved in the workshop because normally when I get involved things go wrong. So I normally try and stay in the office. But today I've got to go out on site. So we've got our own mobile service engineer who's been out and serviced this machine the other week and noticed there was an oil leak on it that needed sorting pretty urgently. So Jam's on holiday this week and there's nobody else here because everybody else is busy, so I'm going out to do it. It's quite a simple job, rocker cover gaskets on a Deutz engine. So I'm going to go out and do that. But it made me realise that next week it's actually been 19 years since I started this business. It's a little bit of story time for you, Spitfire story time. This business started 19 years ago and I was a man in a van going around fixing stuff. And when I started the business 19 years ago, I had one main customer and they said they'd give me 2 or 3 days a week. When you look back, it was a bit bizarre really, because didn't even know this company. I'd met them about a month before I'd finished working where I was. Went self-employed, worked for this company I'd never known before, and they promised me 2 or 3 days a week. So I handed me notice in, bought a van, and that's how it all started. So to actually get back in the van, go out fixing stuff, takes me right back to the first job that I ever did, which was actually a master cylinder on a Mercedes Ertiga 7.5 ton truck. That was the very first job this company ever did, and it takes me back to 19 years ago next week of when it all started. So a little bit of a trip down memory lane this morning for me. Let's go and get this job done. This is the screen. There's 4 pots, 1, 2, 3 and 4. There's the gaskets underneath that have gone. It's leaking oil down the back of the engine. This is the gasket that's come off. It's broke. And that's the inside of the rocker cover. So I've got 4 new gaskets to put on. So I'm going to take these off, clean it all up, put new gaskets on, check the oil level and see if they've got a pressure washer here just to clean it off, because this is an air-cooled engine. You see the fins in the engine, so it's air-cooled. So obviously if you've got oil coming down and the dust sticks to it, it's going to clog the fins up. And it could potentially overheat. So we'll see if they've got a pressure washer and get it cleaned out before I leave. So these are the rocker covers. Took them off and cleaned them up. I've already got 2 on here. And the gasket I'm changing goes onto this face here. And the rocker cover sits on top, just stops the oil from leaking out. The one over the far side, them 2 that I've already done, they were the ones that were probably leaking. These 2 I will do anyway because we're here and we've got the gaskets. But the gasket sits on that flat face there, and on this flat face here, and that's the gasket. But it's a little bit tricky because as it's a bit buried in there, you could easily end up with that gasket sat slightly off if you're not careful. And access isn't great to be able to see what you're doing. So what I'm doing, I'm just putting a very light smear of silicone on it and gluing it to the cover, so when it goes on, it should remain in the right place. So that's that finished off. Just run it up, just to make sure we have got no leaks. Everything's good. Customer's gonna get their jet washer over here at some point later today, I think, to get all that oil in there washed off so it doesn't overheat. Give it a clean off. But yeah, job done. Before I leave, I thought I'd give you a rundown of how this works. So it's basically a deck screen. So that's the deck, vibrates on these springs here, same both sides. You've got a hydraulic motor there that spins a shaft that runs the full length of the deck. And what it does, it spins on an eccentric way and shakes. All the oversize falls off down here on the floor. All the fines fall through onto this conveyor belt below. And ends up here in the heap. And that's pretty much how it works. It's as simple as that. It's a bit like a E21Cs, but much bigger on tracks. So, yeah. I'm just having a little walk around the yard. We've sold 2 mini screens. We've sold this one here. This one's going to Guernsey. Customer that we'd spoke to last year, had all the information last year, then decided against it. Literally rang up last Friday and said, yeah, that's what I want now, because he knows somebody else who's just bought one. So this is the 3rd machine I think we've got in Guernsey now. So the customer that's bought this knows the owners of the other 2, spoke to them, rung up last Friday, ordered this. So that one's going to him next week. And this is the other one. This was a phone call on Monday morning. Customer said he wanted a screen. This one's screening crushed bricks, I think. So it's got a 2mm screen in the bottom, just being put in. 2mm screen in the bottom and a 10mm on top. Customer rang up Monday morning, said he wanted one. We told him we'd got stock. Bought and paid for same day. So this is going out next week as well. The lads are just putting the meshes in for this now and just finishing it off. So 2 mini screens out the door this week. This is JMO, he's our team leader on the assembly side. Say hello, JMO. JMO's an absolute natural on camera, as you can tell. Which I tease him about mercilessly. JMO's usually in the background on the camera, to be honest, when we do the installs, because JMO goes and does the installs on site. So he's usually the one lurking in the background, and you'll see him if you look closely. So it's Tuesday, I'm back in the yard. Been away for a few days to the Isle of Wight festival, got very sunburnt, but it's back at it today in the yard. The sun is shining at long last. Seems as though this year we don't seem to have had a lot of good weather, but it's back now. The sun is back, all is good. So let's just have a quick little walk around the yard, see what the lads have been up to, and get you up to date with where we are with certain jobs. So the new toe plate for the buckets that we were doing is in. The original bucket that we did in the previous episode is over there. That's now done, ready for paint as soon as these other two are done. So this is the second one, new toe plate. It's had the roots welded on, new teeth. This is the one that had the new floor put in. So it's had a new floor put in, this one. This is the one, if you remember, we put a piece of box section in there. You can still see a little bit of evidence where that was. So this is the one that's had new floor, new toe plate, new teeth. So this is the third bucket, still being welded. Don't know if this has been welded underneath yet. Yes, it has. A little bit of a repair going along the back here where it split out. Just making good. And then as soon as this is done, all three buckets will be given a lick of grey paint. We just put a lick of grey paint on for this customer because that's what they like. And then these three buckets will get picked up, and from what I gather, there's another load to come in after this. Now we've been doing this YouTube thing for, this is the 5th episode, and we've got a lot of subscribers since we started doing this seriously. The YouTube channel has been going for years, and we picked a lot of subscribers up years ago, and it's only recently that we've been doing it more seriously. So I'm interested to know where our viewers and subscribers are actually from. Analytics tells us roughly where they're from, but if you're in the UK, can you tell us roughly where you are in the UK? Because I'm genuinely interested to know. If you're overseas, also tell us where you are, because we've got subscribers from Australia, New Zealand, America, all over the world. But it'd be interesting to know whereabouts in your country you are. So please leave a comment and tell us whereabouts you're based. So the mobile picking line is coming on now. Got all the cladding on the outside on this side. And on the ends, still got to do it on the other side. The plan is to get the cladding done on this today. So what we're going to do, get the cladding on the outside, on the roof. And there's a few other bits and pieces to finish off. The lads have put this brace in here. This brace down here, that was missing the other week. That's now been put in. And we've got a few other bits and bobs to put in. There's going to be, when it's done, the control panel for it is going to sit up there. And there'll be what we call a tripwire, e-stop tripwire. So there'll be a switch here, and then there'll be a wire that runs the length of the picking line and be mounted up here. Basically a wire, so if there's a problem and they need to stop it quick, they grab hold of the wire and pull it, and it activates the switch. And that's what will switch it off in the event of emergency. So we're gonna have the control panel up there, and we're just waiting for a customer to confirm whether they are actually gonna order this machine or whether it's actually gonna go as their demo stroke hire machine. And if they do order it, they've asked for air conditioning, and there'll be an air conditioning unit in that panel there. So you'll have aircon that end and a control panel that end. The control panel will have speed control on the belt, switch the belt on and off, control the overband magnet, which is still to be made and be put outside here. So the overband is going to go here. And then we're also looking at having lights inside. We're just deciding which way we're going to go with that. We'll probably have lights at the top that are on a motion sensor. So as soon as you walk in, and whilst anybody's in there, the motion sensor puts the light on inside. Obviously we've still got the windows to put in here and here, and you can see round the other side where the windows are, because obviously we've got the panel work up. So you can see the two windows there. These are the windows here. Dead simple sliding windows. These are the ones that you normally have for the offices that are made out of a shipping container. So we're utilising them. And then the doors themselves are also ones that you would use if you've got an office that was made out of a shipping container. So we've bought in components for that, just because it's easier and more cost effective. So yeah, we're going to get the panel work up on this, finish off a few of the bits and bobs and get it painted. This here is the start of the oil processing company's order. This is going to be the framework for the platform, and above it is going to be 2 deck screens. So I need to show you the drawing of this on the computer just so you can see what we're going to end up with. But basically you've got this frame here, and then there'll be another frame coming off at 90 degrees here, just here, and it's going to be identical to this frame, so it's basically mirrors at a 45 degree in the corner. So you can see the 45 there, and this here will be mirrored across here. On top of that is going to be another frame above it, so one here and one across here, and then above that there'll be 2 deck screens. There'll be a deck screen here and a deck screen here, coming down to a chute in the middle. There'll be a chute here, so all the oversize will come down here into a chute, and when it's in place, when it's delivered, there'll be a tub here in the corner, and all the oversize, the kebab meat and chips and all that sort of stuff, will fall down into this tub, and then sitting on the frame here and here underneath the 2 deck screens will be 2,000 litre stainless steel tanks, and all the oil will go through the deck screens into the tanks, and then it will get pumped off and sent away for further processing. So we've made a start on this now. Some nice welds done by Neil. So what we'll do is we'll get these made up, and we'll actually do a dry fit assemble, and then we're going to do the stairs. The stairs is going to go this end, so there'll be some stairs. The platform will be at the top, the stairs will come down here to a landing here, and then the stairs will go down again to the floor. So you come up the stairs to a landing, turn 380 degrees, go up to the top onto the platform, and then there'll be a walkway that comes along into the corner, along and across the end. So I really do need to show you what this is going to look like when it's finished, so you can get an idea of what we're trying to achieve here. I've done this the wrong way around. I probably should have showed you that first, but I'll try and get that in this video in a minute, just so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the double screen deck for the oil processing line. You've seen the workshop that we've actually made some of these frames now. So we've made this bottom frame here, this one and this one, joined in the corners here. And then obviously we've got another frame on top. So them frames will be stacked together like this, and this is what we're going to build in the end. So those frames are going to be stacked together. You're going to have 2 deck screens at the top, and then we've got a platform. Spin this round for you. So you've got stairs coming up here, up to a platform around here, 2 deck screens, and what they're going to do is they're going to pump oil up into this top and put it into this pipe flange here. So oil will get pumped in there. The oil will then fill up this box and cascade down onto the deck screen. I think they're having 5mm top mesh and 0.8 in the bottom. So the oil going into this is going to have solids in it, chips, kebab meat, that sort of thing. And that will get put through a pump, a macerator pump, and that will get reduced in size down to 8mm. And then that will get pumped into here. The solids will get caught by the meshes and come down to the bottom. Just spin this round a bit so you can see. So the solids will come down on both deck screens to the bottom and fall into this hopper here. And the oil will fall through the meshes and get collected in a pan at the bottom, like a sump, like a big funnel. And the oil will then go into these 2 tanks here. There's one here, and it's identical around this side. So you've got a tank just there. So the oil gets collected in there, pipe at the bottom on both of them, pipe flange on there. That will then get pumped off and the oil will be further processed. The client originally had what was called a screw press to go in here. So the solids would discharge into the screw press. The screw press would squeeze it all together to get rid of the residual oil, pull the oil off of it, and then a dry material, the dry matter, would then get put into a bin here. But they trialled a screw press and it wasn't successful. So we think that the deck screens will be enough to get rid of the most of the oil, and then the solids will fall down here through to this chute and come down to the bottom. Ooh. So I'm using a right-handed mouse, this isn't my computer, and I'm left-handed normally. And then the solids will come out of this chute into a plastic tub here, and then will get taken away by a forklift. So that's what we're looking at doing here on this job. It's a frame, a platform with 2 deck screens on top, and it's used to separate the solids from the oil. Now it's done like this. Originally we had it with 2 screens running to the centre in line. It wasn't in the corner like this, but the way that it's been positioned in the building, it's going to be, there's a wall coming along here and there's a wall coming down here as well. So this is going to be put in the corner of that building. Now I've already been to this building. I think if you look in previous episode, I think it might have been the last one, you could actually see I did a site visit on this site and showed you where this was going to go. So the lads in the workshop are building this now. We've also got 2 other jobs for these. There's a big pallet conveyor, which is about 70 metres long, goes through 90 degrees, various different stages, so they can load pallets of drums onto it with the forklift. And then it goes to a place where they can unload the pallets. And then it will continue with empty pallets and the pallets will get reloaded. So that's the job as well. And they've also got another job, which is going to be a big tank with a grid across the top of it where they can put big 1,000-litre IBCs of oil and drain the IBCs straight into the tank below where it will get pumped off. I'm also going next week to have a look at another job for them, which if we're successful with that job, we'll show that in future episodes. on my way up to deliver this mini screen today. I've got some bits to drop off for Dave at D&J. Now, I don't know if I mentioned it in a previous video, or Dave certainly has in his. He's got a auger that fits his micro at the minute, and he's asked us to just make up a simple bracket to connect his SANI to his earth auger. So we've made a bracket that will utilise part of the existing bracket on his earth auger, and this hopefully should fit. Bring the camera around here. So we've got some pins at the bottom. I'm not quite sure why we've got 2 pins. I think we need the one. But basically that will pin onto his auger, clip onto his digger, and then that should work. And then we've also got a base. Dave makes concrete blocks. Let me just get rid of the shadow that I'm stood in. Makes basically concrete Lego blocks, and he's asked us to do a base so we can put a stencil in. So we've done that. Now, before anybody puts in the comments that we've welded it on the wrong way around, this is going to leave an imprint in the block, and it is mirrored and reversed so that when the concrete block is made and the concrete block is cured and pulls off, it should read D&J Projects in the side of the concrete block. Now, you can ask Dave yourself whether they get the concrete block the right way up to see whether D&J Projects is read the right way up or the wrong way up. And then the phone rings. And this is some more columns cut for the oil processing screen line. All steel been delivered this morning. Some more bits being cut here. Colin's on the saw, cutting some more bits. Plasma cutter's cutting away. And Colin's cutting some more beams. That's what I like to see. Plasma cutter running, bandsaw running, nice and productive. We've got a pallet of rollers. These are all for the mobile picking line. These are all the idler rollers and probably the returns rollers. And over here, that's the head drum for the mobile picking line. That's going to be sent away to be lagged. So similar to what you've probably seen in previous episodes, that gets sent away to a company and they vulcanise a rubber layer over the head drum. So when it's driving the belt, this is the one that's going to drive the main picking conveyor belt. So you've got rubber to rubber contact to give a nice positive drive so this doesn't slip when it's powering the belt. So I'm just on my way to deliver this mini screen. As I said, this is one that guy rang up last Monday and said he wanted a screen. We'd got one in stock, deal done in a day, paid for it that day, and now this is the delivery. So let's go and have a look and see what they're going to be using it for. So that's the screen dropped off. Just leaving him to it now. Turns out I got it wrong. They weren't screening crushed bricks and trying to get the dust out of it. Actually what they're actually going to be screening with it is carbon pellets. Now the carbon pellets is a byproduct from the petroleum industry. When they make petrol and diesel, this is a byproduct for that, from what I understand. And it's then pelletized at Immingham and then transported to these guys here, and what they're going to use our screen for is they've got the 2mm 0.2 mil mesh in the bottom, not 0.2, 2 mil mesh in the bottom. They're going to use that to get rid of the carbon dust that's in with the pellets, to clean the pellets up. So they're going to use that to do that, and then the pellets will then go off for further processing in different industries that need carbon as raw ingredients into any other products that they're going to make. So I've just dropped that screen off there. I'm now on my way back to the yard, but on the way I've got some bits to drop in to Dave at D&J. So today's Wednesday, just on our way to the Hillhead show. Just sat in the queue at the minute. Yesterday I delivered them bits to Dave at D&J, and if you watch his video you'll see how that worked out for him. Everything fitted as it should, and Dave's got that stencil for his concrete blocks, which he's going to have a go with next week, so we'll see how that works out. So I've come to Hillhead today. I've got Archie with me in the passenger seat. We're going to have a little wander around here. We've just been for breakfast. Who was there for breakfast? Got Chris, Every Trade, Dave from D&J, the Lowe boys, Baxenden Car Breakers. Just had breakfast with them in Buxton, and now we're into the show, and we're going to go and have a look and see what is new in the world of crushing and screening and other construction related industries. So let's see how we get on. So this is Hillhead, based in a quarry. It's an old quarry floor. I think it's been years since this quarry was worked. But in the bottom you've got all this machinery, all different manufacturers showing off what they've got. And then around the outside they've got working demonstrations. Nothing's working at the minute, but it was earlier on. So let's have a wander down to the quarry floor and have a look and see what we can find.
It's like more of a process in that, going in and coming back. Coming back. Didn't know it existed, so I've never heard of it.
So here we are at Hillhead, just having a look round. Just come across a track manufacturer, which I'm talking to. Let me spin this round. So there's various different tracks here. It's been talked about in the office about looking at putting our mini screens on tracks. And we've always resisted it in the past, because when you start putting tracks on things, the cost goes up. All of a sudden, as a business, we enter into a different market. But we're always looking at innovating our products, expanding our range. So maybe this is something that we need to look at and take a bit more seriously. So we're having a little wander around, and we've bumped into some more YouTubers that some of you might already follow. Let's flip this round and I'll have a look. So who have we got here? We've got Chris at Every Trade, Dave at D&J, we've got Baz, professional struggler, Baxenden boys, Lowe were here earlier on, but it's all going on here on the Worsley plant stand. So we're just having a little wander around on the stand. Take my sunglasses off. It's quite bright in here, isn't it?
You're really dark around there.
So just took my sunglasses off. So just having a little wander around inside the pavilion here at Hillhead, and we've come across our preferred screen mesh supplier. So they've got a stand here with different screen meshes on. I'm just going to turn the camera around. So we've got different screen meshes on these stands, and what is interesting, if you remember when we did, if anybody was paying attention and had a little look when we did the screen off with D&J, we had this mesh in one of our screens, and Dave had a mesh similar to this, an elongated mesh, and just been talking to our suppliers about the problems we have when materials dampen this one blinding over, and then we went to this one, but they've also got another option that we could try. They've got two more options we could try. We could actually go to this one. So this one, the way that this works is this wavy edge here, that flexes when it's vibrating. I don't know if you can see that. So they flex so the material can't stick to it. So if you think it's like two fingers doing that, and it keeps itself clean. So they do that with the wavy wire in it and a straight wire, but they also do two wavy wires next to each other. So we've got a few options now of different things we can try. So obviously we've got different sizes of the same. What have we got around here? It's all pretty much the same around here. Now this device here is also something that we could try. This device here, you attach it to your screen deck at the top, and then as it's vibrating, this bangs against the screen like this, and that also keeps it clean. So there's quite a few different things that we could actually try in trying to keep our meshes on the decks cleaner. They've also got these mats here. Now these are for flip flow screens, I would imagine by the looks of it, which is a deck screen. But actually what the mats do in the deck screen, they fit like this, but these also flex and vibrate in the deck screen. They're used for screening material that's damp, and it just, because it flexes, it just stops the material from clogging. So we've never built a flip flow screen, but we've done work around flip flow screens, and when they're working in a damp material, they're really good. The material is very difficult to stick to this because it's smooth, it's plastic, and it's constantly flexing, so it can't stick to it. They also do different rollers. We also get some of these here, which is the capping rubber that goes underneath our meshes. So when we make our cassettes in our decks, that rubber sits on top of the bars, and then the mesh goes on top, and it stops the metal mesh from sticking on the metal bars and from rubbing through the meshes and wearing the meshes out. So they've got some more rubber mats down here. So if we wanted to on our deck screens, we could potentially also put rubber mats on for different applications, different jobs. And then just here they've got different meshes sat inside a little frame. All sorts of different applications, different things. This one's got like a rubber bonding on it just to keep the wires together. These guys are the people to speak to if you need anything to do with your screen mesh or screening requirements. Just trying to find their phone number somewhere. brymon.co.uk. If you need any meshes or anything for anything in your screens, look them up. We highly recommend them. We've used them for years. The Unimog seems to have caused a bit of interest. I think Dave's... Are you having one, Dave?
Hey.
Are you having one of these?
I don't think I might be struggling the post on the back. Lifting the post up, putting them on so it's going low.
It's a little bit high, but the professional struggler is all over it.
No, I mean like.
And there he is.
Oh, is it? Yeah.
So that was Hillhead. Me and Archie have been up there today. We've had a good look round. As you can see, we got some bits on camera. Didn't film a huge amount, to be honest, because we were busy there seeing different customers, different suppliers, doing different things. But we picked up some bits on camera. Really interesting to meet some of the other YouTubers in the industry. People like Baxenden Boys, Dane's Lowe. Never met them face to face before, so that was interesting catching up with them, talking about their businesses and their YouTube journey and where they are with that. We also met some followers, some people that follow us. Had a really nice chat with a guy called Gary. He follows our channel as well as some of the others, and it was interesting talking to him and finding out what sort of thing he likes to see on YouTube, you know, what appeals to him. And I know that Gary's also left some nice comments in the past. So if you're watching this, Gary, if you can just get in contact with Andrea in the office, it'd be nice to send you a little Spitfire goodie bag, just to show our appreciation for following our channel. And also a big thank you to everybody else that follows our channel. We've been doing this now for couple of months in all seriousness, and it's really interesting to see how we're performing as a channel, and we've had some lovely comments. We've also got a lot more subscribers, so this is my chance to say thank you to everybody that sort of follows us and is probably following our journey as we go through this year and beyond, and how as a business we're changing and evolving and doing different things. Back in the office, just had a phone call today with the office just to catch up with how things are in the office. Some nice inquiries have come in today. We've had the verbal confirmation on another trommel, and we've also got another trommel out there at the minute that is also looking promising. And now the phone is ringing. So how good is that? Okay, so we're just about to drop this off now. Just thought I'd give you a quick run round of what this has actually got on it. So in here we've got a spare mesh on the top. We've got 25mm top mesh, 15mm bottom mesh. It's got a spare 10mm mesh in the top, two-way split on the chutes at the bottom, standard machine with a conveyor, but on this one and that we've got a generator. And the customer has asked us, we do machine mounted generators like this. Some customers like it like this, but we have got to be a bit careful when we do it this way, is that you keep your air filter and everything nice and clean, because obviously the material sometimes can be a bit dry and dusty, and sometimes that material finds itself into the air filter in the engine, so it's not the ideal position to put it. Some people prefer it to have a separate generator and they can put the generator out the way, away from the dust, but this particular customer has asked us to do the bracket underneath, so we can do that. These generators are Hyundai generators. We're actually agents for these. We buy them direct from Hyundai. So if you do need a generator of any size, not just specifically for our machines, but a generator of any size, get in contact with us and we can sort you out a good price for a Hyundai generator. So I've just dropped this mini screen off, and before I left, totally unrelated to what we do, but you don't see this very often, so I thought I would just get it on camera. This big machine here, let me just flip the camera around. Bogan, material handler, port spec, big tracks on the bottom, and this is on a turret, lifted turret here. You have to get access up these steps here, so the operator would climb up here and come up these steps either side, walkway down the sides, and they would then bring a ship alongside here, ship would come alongside, and it would use this clamshell bucket here to unload the ships. And I've been down here before, and I think what they do is they unload it straight into lorries, and then it gets taken away either off site, or I think they've got a big building here that they tip it in. But let me just give you an idea how big this thing is. It just keeps going. Just keeps going. Absolutely huge. So they've got this one. There's a big crane just down there that you can see. Film this machine here, but having a word with the guy, they actually have not got a problem with us filming down here, so I'll just flip this round and you can see another one they've got. Why have one when you can have two?
Now, in the last video we posed a question and asked you to put in the comments how long you thought it would take for us to build a mini screen, and the answers are: for a standard E21 it's 75 hours, and for an E21C it's 120 hours. Now, we've built a lot of these machines, so we've managed to get it quite efficient. Bespoke stuff always takes longer, but when you're doing production runs like we do with these, we build them 2 at a time, we can get the hours pretty close to what we expected now. And 75 hours for an E21, 120 hours for an E21C. So whoever got closest in the comments will get in contact and we'll send you a goodie bag. A lot of people put in the comments that it was days rather than hours, so we'll convert the answers into days, hours, depending on what you've said, and we'll base that on a 10-hour day. Now, in other news, we've got a new apprentice starting with us in the not too distant future, so keep watching and you'll see how that pans out. And that's about it for this episode. So thank you for watching, appreciate all the comments, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
So I just stopped filming because I got caught by security looking at their machines. In fairness to them, they were pretty cool and they haven't really got a problem. They were just my fault really. I probably should have had a word with them first, but I thought I'd just jump out.
So that was Hillhead. Me and Archie have been up there today. We've had a good look round. As you can see, we've got some bits on camera. Didn't film a huge amount, to be honest, because we were busy there seeing different customers, different suppliers, doing different things, but we picked up some bits on camera. Really interesting to meet some of the other YouTubers in the industry, people like Baxenden Boys, Dane's Lowe. Never met them face to face before, so that was interesting catching up with them, talking about their businesses and their YouTube journey and where they are with that. We also met some followers, some people that follow us. Had a really nice chat with a guy called Gary. He follows our channel as well as some of the others, and it was interesting talking to him and finding out what sort of thing he likes to see on YouTube, you know, what appeals to him. And I know that Gary's also left some nice comments in the past. So if you're watching this, Gary, if you can just get in contact with Andrea in the office, it'd be nice to send you a little Spitfire goodie bag, just to show our appreciation for following our channel. And also a big thank you to everybody else that follows our channel. We've been doing this now for a couple of months, in all seriousness, and it's really interesting to see how we're performing as a channel. And we've had some lovely comments. We've also got a lot more subscribers. So this is my chance to say thank you to everybody that sort of follows us and is probably following our journey as we go through this year and beyond, and how as a business we're changing and evolving and doing different things. Back in the office, just had a phone call today with the office just to catch up with how things are in the office. Some nice inquiries have come in today. We've had the verbal confirmation on another trommel, and we've also got another trommel out there at the minute that is also looking promising. And now the phone is ringing. So how good is that?